Welcome back, stassa23 here, back again with some knife therapy. And before I get started, if you like this video, please drop a thumbs up on it. It helps out the channel more than you know. And if not, thumbs down works as well. And if you like knife content and you're not already, please think about hitting that subscribe button. You don't want to miss any of the content. All right, today I have some long-term update videos for you on these four. You got the Asher Sparrow, the Civivi Appalachian Drifter, the QSP Penguin, and the Ferrum Forge Prolix. So we'll take three of these out of the way, and we'll start first with the Asher Sparrow. The Sparrow comes in at $75. It's a medium-sized knife, 7.4 inches. And what I like most about the Sparrow is you got that 0.09 blade stock, nice and thin, decently ground. And the more I use this knife, the more I enjoy this knife. You get an S35VN steel, which is considered a super steel, for $75. I was kind of weary at first for that price. I was thinking, you know, they must not have did a good job on the heat treat. But I must say I'm pretty impressed. The action on this knife has gotten smoother and smoother. Very, very fidgety knife. Detent. I like the detent the way it is. It's not coming out. It's not a super strong detent. But, I mean, just look, I barely touch it, and those bearings do the rest. Really good action on it. The contoured scales, nice and comfortable. All these knives, if you hadn't seen my review, I reviewed all these. So if you want to see the more in-depth, check it out. This is just how I feel, you know, after having even more time and you really getting a feel for it, because I've had a lot of use on these knives. The only thing that I didn't like about the knife is something that I fixed, and it may not be a problem for you. You might not care about it, but it had pretty sloppy edge termination that would have eventually led into a recurve into the blade. So as you can see, I cut a little notch out right there just because I'm OCD and I got to have my bevels nice and even, unless it's a recurve as it starts. But that was really my only complaint. No side to side, no up and down. I can get to that lock bar easily. It's just a good, comfortable work knife. It's not a heavy duty knife. I definitely wouldn't, you know, I wouldn't try to pry anything with this. It's just your average guy's EDC, you know, type of knife. And for somebody that's on a budget and wants to try out, you know, your higher end steels, I think this is a good way to do that. And that is the Asher Sparrow. And the only other thing is there's oh, never mind, I was wrong. I was gonna say there's no lefty love, but yeah, there is. It just has that plate. It fooled me. You also get those inset liners. You get that feeling that it's not, you know, a rugged knife, but it's a knife that can, you know, do it. Just kind of like the Benchmade bug out. You know, that one's gonna be a little bit more rugged because it has the axis lock. But if the bug out were a liner lock, that's how, you know, the same way I would use this knife as I use the bug out if it was a liner lock, if that makes any sense. Alrighty, let's go on to the next one. We have the Civivi Appalachian Drifter. Now, when I first reviewed this knife, I was actually in Tennessee with my family, and I carried it a good bit there. And I was very weary because this is a double detent system slip joint. As you can see, there's no lock. And that at first kind of worried me. I did not think I would enjoy this knife because of that. Because I have used a slip joint in the past where I was cutting into some cardboard, and I thought I had made it all the way through, and the tip of the blade caught and it pulled down. But luckily it stopped and the cardboard did not get me. Now, of course, what I like this knife to be a liner lock or frame lock, oh yeah, I'd probably own a few of them. But after I used this knife, I couldn't stop using it because this thing is so thinly ground. It's got thin blade stock. It's super thinly ground, got a nice deep hollow on there. I think that's a hollow, feels like it. Civivi does an excellent job with their grinding. S35V in steel. You can spidey flick it with that fuller on the back side. Super fidgety. I mean, of course, you don't have a lock, so you can constantly flip, 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 flip. You know, if you get it down packed, you can keep on doing that. I learned to use the knife without, you know, not having to worry about it not having a lock. I just had to be more careful. You know, I've owned slip joints in the past. I've owned friction folders in the past. A friction folder doesn't even have a detent that holds it open. You just got to be wary of what you're cutting. This knife, you know, is suited for, you know, those fine detailed tasks. A lot of my tasks consist of putting that tip down and dragging it. That's a cut that I make more than anything, or breaking down cardboard boxes. Now, of course, whenever I do my testing, just to see what, you know, things that I might have done in the past with other knives, I do, but it's not stuff that I do on a daily basis. You know, that's stuff I could do because I've done it before, but not something I do with every single knife. So I think this knife is an excellent knife, especially if you're used to slip joints. If you want a good cutter, you want some micarta, that's another thing. When I first got the micarta, it had this nice, I mean, this ugly dry spot right there. And I couldn't, like, usually you can rub micarta and the oils from your hands darkens it up. It took a little while, but now, as you can see, it's aged nicely. I mean, it's been in the pocket a good bit, and it's darkened up. And I think they've definitely started getting it looks like higher quality micarta, or using a different kind of resin. It's still not as nice as the American micarta that you see CJRB using and a lot of American makers, but for the price tag, it's not terrible. This isn't a cheap knife, but you're getting S35V in steel. It's coming in at $88. And I think now that I've used it, I think it's a bargain because I thoroughly enjoyed it. I mean, you get this knife, if you get used to having that slip joint, once you start cutting things, you will know what I mean, because this thing is just a laser beam. I've sharpened this thing, I think, two times, and I've stropped it up. I left a pretty nice toothy, probably, I think it was 1,000 grit edge on here, and it just cuts and cuts and cuts. That's, you know, the finish on here, you can it's starting to, you know, lighten up in some spots up here, just on the high spots. But, you know, that's going to happen with pretty much any finish. This is more like a blasted stonewash finish. I like it. I like the way it looks, and I like the way it wears. So definitely one I do recommend. Like I said, if you're okay with having a slip joint, you've got to be more mindful. This one doesn't have that harder spring that some slip joints have. There was something else that, and this one does it. Like I said on the other, this one does not have any lefty love. So sorry, lefties, this might be a deal breaker for you. I still would give it a shot. I carry knives in my left and right pocket, and I usually have the same clip orientation on all of them. So there you go. But it definitely they missed the mark, because you got this fuller, and you got, you know, it's a completely ambidextrous knife besides the pocket clip. So that's their bad. Usually Civivi is good about putting a clip on the other side. Okay, next up, we got the QSP Penguin. All right. I'm just going to say, at the $29 price point, it's a no-brainer. Does the D2 steel hold an edge for a super long time? No, it doesn't. It's not, you know, it seems like it might be ran a little soft, probably at 58 maybe. I don't know. I'm not a metallurgist. I haven't shot this one. But to me, that's perfectly acceptable. This action is ridiculously smooth. It's got the phosphor bronze washer with the thin Teflon washer over the top of it, kind of like the Ontario Rat Model 1 and 2. And this thing, watch, I'm just gonna barely press on that stud. It just comes flying out, and it's gotten smoother and smoother. This is one of my permanent shop knives. I got this one, and the other one's sitting by my grinder, but I own 3 of these D2 micarta versions. This is denim micarta. Now this one looks pretty rough. The first batch was kind of funky looking, and this one has seen a lot of use, so it's gotten nice and dark. The other 2 that I have in this denim, it's a lot more uniform, looks nicer. You got that deep carry pocket clip, and they do have some lefty love there. I wish they would have countersunk those screws, but I haven't. You got such a high spot right there that it usually goes all the way down into my pocket. And like I said before, it doesn't hold the edge the longest, and it's not the thinnest behind the edge, but this is like a utility knife for me. I'll constantly put my finger right there, and I'm using that edge to make cuts like that. I've cut sandpaper with it. I've cut stuff, a lot of stuff that you shouldn't probably be cutting with a knife, but it was what was closest to me, and I felt like using it, so that's what I used. But one thing I did notice is that it is very easy to touch back up. This one right here, I usually just touch this one up on my Spyderco Sharp Maker that I have left set up in my shop, so it takes no time whatsoever, or I'll just hit it on a strop that I have sitting on the side of my Spyderco Sharp Maker. So that's a plus with that. And like I said, for 30 bucks, you'll be kind of hard pressed to find a better knife at this price point. I'm sure there are, but that's what I'm saying. It's a good knife. I definitely recommend the QSP Penguin if you hadn't checked it out. And you can also pick up the Penguin in S35 VN with carbon fiber, or this Blue Jean micarta for like 50 something bucks. I also have one of those as well. And it's the same type story with this one. It's not ran the hardest, but gets the job done. And for the price point, I think it's well acceptable. Alrighty, and last up we have the Ferrum Forge Prolix. I don't even think I did my full review on this one. I don't know. I guess being that I'd already reviewed the Mini Archbishop, I already reviewed the Stinger. A lot of stuff that came in when I had this one, so I never got to do a full-on review, I don't think, of this one. Correct me if I'm wrong. If you saw a full-on review, I'm sorry. It's late. I'm tired. I'm trying to get this last video done before I go fishing. I don't know. I have mixed feelings about this one. I love the aesthetics of it. I like that blade shape, that Warney blade shape, or Warney/sheep's foot, whatever you want to call it. I like it. The price tag on this one is 90 bucks. In my opinion, it's overpriced. And the reason I say that is because if I had to choose between, if I could only buy one and I was to spend 90 bucks, I would buy this one. This is the Ferrum Forge Stinger. Same blade steel, Nitro V on both of these. Same exact everything, except this one's a good bit smaller in all dimensions. I mean, in length, in the handle, and in the blade. So the price, I think, in my opinion, $90, excellent price for this. On this one, I think it could have at least taken off $10, would have made me feel a little bit better about it. And I want to say the Mini Archbishop that the new one that they came back out with, the Nitro V, I think it's even the same price. I don't know. Y'all tell me, give me y'all thoughts on that. But I will say, out of all 3 of them, this one by far, with that elongated hole right there, is the most fidgety in my opinion. Love Ferrum Forge's flipper tabs. I like their logoed pivot like that, nice and countersunk. Everything's countersunk. Shadow box scales, I like that. I can choke up on the blade. Now, you're not gonna be able to if you have fat sausage fingers, but or you just have to kind of choke back a little bit on it. Can I get work done with this length of blade? Yeah. One thing I will tell you, I checked this edge bevel on. I don't know if y'all have heard of it. It's a goniometer that measures the exact angle that the blade is sharpened at. Basically, I'll show it on the channel. If y'all want to see it, y'all just say something down below. And what it is it's like a protractor that has a laser pointer in it, and it shoots a beam down, and where it hits both sides, it reflects onto the angle, so you can get the exact angle of the knife. And this one was, when I say perfectly ground, this is exactly 20 degrees on both sides. And I've checked pretty much every knife that I've reviewed since I bought it about a month and a half ago, and none of them have been perfect like that. I love seeing that, because whenever they're not perfect, that's, if you're OCD like me, that's just more work I have to do on the sharpening bench that I don't really feel like doing. So, like I said, mixed feelings. It's a great knife. It wouldn't be my first choice of the bunch. Like I said, the Stinger would be my first choice. And I guess the size range, it would go the Stinger for me, Prolix, and then Archbishop. That's just the way I would go. But like I said, if you're looking for a knife, if you like both of them, you want to find a reason to like the Prolix more. The Prolix, in my opinion, is a little bit more fidgety. I think it's just because you have that opening, and I can bury my finger into that hole like that. That didn't sound good. Even though I can do it on this one, I gotta like really push hard and put my fingernail in between that little blood groove, and it's not the most comfortable for me. But the flipping action is excellent on this one. This one just has a little bit of an edge on it. So there you go. That is my long-term review, my long-term update on the Ferrum Forge Prolix, the QSP Penguin, the Civivi Appalachian Drifter, and the Astronaut Sparrow. If you have any questions, comments, concerns about any of these knives or anything else, just let me know down in the comment section, and I will do my best to answer them. I can't promise I can get to all of them, but I do my best when I can. And I hope everybody's having an absolute wonderful day. I will see y'all on the next one. Peace.